Well, hot damn, there you have it, the SLO 100 plugin from the nice folks at Soldano, of course, and Neural DSP. Man, Neural DSP knocking it out of the park these days with the Quad Cortex to all of their great plugins. I've tried a whole bunch of them now. Amazing tones to be had. I mean, you heard that. The guitar sounds, I think, are killer on that track at the beginning of the video, I must say, and they weren't hard to get. Just a little bit of tweaking, and that's the way the thing sounds. So all those tones were recorded with my Sir PT Signature guitar plugged right in, straight into my UA recording interface, just right into High Z input 1, and then I pulled up the SLO plugins on the various channels that I was recording the different parts on in Logic and just tweaked the sound to taste using the plugin. Anyways, just really, really great tones, but coupled with ease of use, and that's something that's really blowing me away about their stuff. It's so easy to use. The Quad Cortex and the plugins, I don't have to crack a manual, and I love that. Maybe I'm just getting old and grumpy, but I figure I've been doing this stuff for long enough now, I should be able to just either, turn on the modeler or open up the plugin and figure out how to use it. What I'm going to do in this video is solo some of those parts from the song in the beginning outside of the mix. You can hear them clearly. And then I'm also going to actually play my real SLO 100 head into my Sir reactive load that I've got up here. I'm going to take the line out of the reactive load and go into my recording interface. And then I'm going to pull up the plugin on the channel that I'm recording in, and I can actually turn off the amplifier sim in the plugin and just use the cabinet simulation portion of the plugin. Then on a second channel, I can pull up the exact same plugin with the exact same settings, actually kind of like duplicate the settings on the head and everything, use the exact same cab setting. And then what we're going to do is directly A/B the actual head to the plugin and see how close to that I can get. I already know, spoiler alert, I can get pretty damn close actually. And in some ways I almost sort of, I hate to say it, I almost sort of preferred the sound of the plugin. Had a little bit more upper mid, well, I'm gonna let you guys decide when you hear it. We'll check it out in a minute here. Maybe I'll get even closer if I just tweak a little bit. And so popping up right here will be the plugin. You get this beautiful UI, and like I say, it's just so easy to understand and see here. You got this giant input control here, which I leave at 0 because I want my guitar to just be, I want the level out of my guitar to not be boosted or anything like that. You've got a gate knob here and an output knob on the other side. And then you get all the controls of the amplifier here where you can change the channels, turn on the bright, hit the crunch switch, and then of course control the gain and all the EQ and all that good stuff here. And the setting that I've got up here on the screen right now and on the plugin, this is the sound that started the song at the beginning of the video. And it's about how I kind of run the overdrive channel on my real SLO if I'm using it. I find that with an SLO, I don't ever really want to push the gain, the overdrive, past like 6, or it starts to get into a little bit of like just mushy territory for me. And there's tons of preamp gain in the amp. So I'll just run it anywhere usually from 4 to 6 on the overdrive channel. And then if I want more gain, like on the solo on the song at the beginning of the video, I'll hit a drive. So let's check out what we got for drives here. Over here you get a few of the plug-in effects. Plug-in sort of pedal style effects that run in front of the virtual amplifier. So you get 2 different overdrives, you get a chorus, and you get a compressor. And they all sound great. The drive that I used on the solo sound at the beginning of the video, that was kind of sounded more like a tube screamer or something to me. And I believe that was this overdrive 1 that I used for that sound. And then on the clean part, I used the chorus, used the compressor, and just tried to kind of hit some of the different sounds. So you heard some echo and stuff as well, and some reverb on that track. Let's go just shoot down here to the end of the plugin for a second here. This is where that was coming from, this delay, and this is this reverb right here. So all the effects and all the guitar tones and everything were all just generated right out of this plugin. Okay, everything was done in the plugin as far as those cool stereo delays and stuff. That effects sound wonderful in it. Let's take a look at the cabinet simulation. This is exceptional. You've got basically, you picture your cabinet comes up here, and you can move the microphones around simply just by grabbing them and pulling them in any direction you want, just like this on the cabinet, moving that 121 style mic around. Or you can use the controls here, the knobs and stuff like that to move the virtual microphones. You get a great selection of different microphones to put on the cab here. You got a 57, 421, 414, 184 condenser, and a couple different ribbons, a 121 and a 160. Or you can load in an IR. It's a great IR loader. So if you want to load in, IRs from Celestion or York or Onham or anything like that, you can totally do that within the plugin. Last but not least, within the plugin here, you've got this EQ. Now you can see that I've got just a little bit of EQ adjustment going on. That was me trying to match the plugin to the actual amplifier when I hooked up my SLO 100 through my load box. I just dialed in with this graphic, which is very, very powerful. You just need little adjustments, and a little bit goes a long way. And I was able to get it really, really close. So more on that in just a minute here when we hook up the actual head. But that's it. I mean, the plugin is so simple and beautifully laid out and easy to use that I think we should, it's self-explanatory. I think we should move on to some sounds. So let's check out some of those sounds from the song at the beginning, and then we're going to get on to the segment where I compare the actual head to the plugin. Here we go. So what I'm going to do right now is play the guitar riff from the song at the beginning of the video through my TC Ditto looper right here. So I got the guitar plugged into the Ditto looper. One side is feeding my interface, going right into my Apollo, into input 1, and I've got an instance of the plugin pulled up, and I'm using the exact same sound I used in that track. Same settings and everything on the amplifier, same cabinet settings, but I've got the effects turned off. That's the only thing, no effects turned on. Okay, now the second side of the Ditto looper, because it's got stereo out, so the second output is feeding my SLO 100 back there in the rack. And I've got the controls and everything set on the same on the amplifier as I do on the plugin. I'm coming out of the amp into the SIR reactive load, and I'm loading the amp down to line level, coming out of the reactive load right into my recording interface. And now I've got another instance of the plugin pulled up on another channel in Logic. And on that channel, I've got the amp sim turned off, but I got the exact same cab sim turned on. Once more, no effects on or anything like that. So what I want to do is play the riff into the Ditto looper, and then I'm going to play the riff back coming out of the looper, so it's the exact same performance, and I'm going to feed both the plugin channel and then the real amp channel with only the cab sim at the same time. Then we're going to compare and listen. Okay, so I recorded my loop in the Ditto looper, and then I played it back and recorded on 2 tracks, directly comparing them. I noticed they were very, very close, but just a little bit of differences. And what I did is I used an EQ in Logic to actually analyze the difference between the 2 sounds. It's called Match EQ, and it's really a powerful and simple to use tool that lets you look at the difference between 2 sounds. It can be 2 very different sounds, it can be 2 very close sounds, and then it'll generate an EQ curve showing you what's different about them. So I wanted to make the plug-in sound as close to the real amp as I could, so I looked at the differences, and this is the curve that it gave me that I would have to do on the plug-in channel in order to kind of, match the EQ essentially to the sound of the real amplifier. So what's going on? Well, it looks like down below 100 hertz there's a little bit of a drop off in lows. Somewhere around maybe 190, 180 hertz there was a bit of a bump up. And then starting around 500 hertz and on out to about 1.5K, a little bit of dip in the mids. Excuse me, allergy season. Starting up around maybe centered around 4 or 5K, there was a rise, real gentle rise in the highs all the way out till 10K. And this is just like a couple dB difference in these frequencies. I mean, it is really, really close. So I didn't want to use Match EQ because I could just use Match EQ to actually match it incredibly close, but I wanted to see if I could do it within the plugin, because the plugin actually gives you an EQ. So let's check it out here. Here's the curve that I did on the EQ in the Soldano plugin in order to match the plugin sound to my real amp. And I mean, it is literally like I'm not doing more than 1.2 dB anywhere. Well, okay, 1.4 on the 4K I'm boosting up. So, you know, less than 2 dB little bumps here and there. And I think I got it really close. Okay, enough chit chat. Let's hear the results. First up, you'll hear, let's do the real amp first. And then after that, you'll hear the plugin. Here we go. All right, so there you have it, both with effects and totally dry. I mean, it's really close. It's really impressive. And I actually don't think like one's an appreciably better or worse sound or anything like that. I think they both sound good, and whatever differences are there, I mean, it's almost like it could be that difference between two different amps, or if you had an amp with different preamp tubes in it or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's really, really close. I know that most of this video has been focused mainly on the overdrive channel, the heavy channel. I wanted to show you the clean channel with the crunch switch on and with the gain on 6 just really quick here, because it's got a really, really nice sort of light overdrive sound, light British sort of overdrive. I wanted to talk and just play through the overdrives as well for a second here, because these are both really cool sounding, and they sound really different. So basically, you've got overdrive 1 here, which is what I use for all the leads on the track at the beginning of the video to kind of push the virtual amp. And it sounds kind of tube screamer-ish to me. It basically has this kind of honk-like thing that happens in the upper mids that just really makes the sound cut. So without it, it sounds like that. And when I turn it on, it's just like slices through the mix and sounds really great. The lead guitars were really easy to get to sit in the mix of that track and separated from the rhythm guitars with that kind of mid-range. And I don't know, it's kind of addictive to play lead through. It's fun. The other one is more like a neutral kind of drive, and it's also got a high frequency boost you can turn on, but it's higher treble kind of boost. But it's cool. Here's without the boost on. like without the high frequency boost. And turning on the high frequency boost. I just love that, all that mid-range coming in. It just makes lead like super easy to play. I don't know, it's addictive, and it makes the guitar sit in the mix really well. And there you have it. It's the Soldano Slo 100 plugin from, of course, Mike Soldano and the nice folks at Neural DSP. Man, this stuff is getting good these days. This is going to be a great tool for folks to use, whether you're practicing or recording a record. I mean, it sounds just killer. And boy, we've come a long way with this stuff, and it's really exciting, I think. I mean, it's just fun, all this great stuff we've got now to make noise with. You can check out the Soldano Slo 100 plugin further at the link down in the video description below. Click there and it'll take you to all the info that you could ever want to know. Please hit subscribe if you haven't. Hit the little bell beside the subscribe. You will get an alert when I put out some more videos like this one. Come back and see me real soon. I am Pete Thorn. Take care, friends. Over and out.